In just a few moments, we're going to be making official for the first time the announcements of the inductees in the Florida Boxing Hall of Fame for the class of 2017. They will be enshrined this June. It'll be our 9th annual enshrinement ceremony. To get started, we're going to hear from the gentleman who is our host today. He has graciously welcomed us here for the last several years as part of the open house here at the SJC Boxing Gym in Fort Myers. He's the founder of SJC Boxing, vice president of the Florida Boxing Hall of Fame, and a member of the original class of the Florida Boxing Hall of Fame in 2009. Please welcome Mr. Steve Canton.
Thank you, everybody. So great to be here with everybody. Thank you for driving this long distance. We're going to have a great day today, and we're so pleased every year to come here with the open house. To me, this is the highlight of the year for the gym. And June, make sure you put on your calendar to go to Tampa for the 3-day induction weekend. That's the highlight of the year for all boxing fans and the boxers, the reunions we have. It's fabulous. Thank you so much. I'm going to turn it right back to Bob, the best ring announcer in the world.
Thank you so much, Steve. First thing we want to do a little bit of business. One of the things that we do at the Hall of Fame enshrinement ceremony in June is we pay honor and tribute to those in the boxing world that we lost in the past year. And what we like to do here at the open house is to pay tribute to those that we lost from June up until the end of this year. There are several names. We're going to highlight some of them, and the rest will all be mentioned when we have our gala dinner the second night in June. So, Steve Canton is going to perform the duties of tolling the count of 10 on behalf of the names of Bob Tucker. He was the father of Tony Tucker, one of our Florida Boxing Hall of Fame inductees, former heavyweight champion. Alex Stewart, former heavyweight contender. Bobby Chacon, former featherweight and lightweight champion of the world. And our very own Florida Boxing Hall of Famer from the class of 2012, former junior welterweight world champion, Aaron the Hawk Pryor. Steve? May their souls rest in peace. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. At this time, I would like to recognize some very special people. The Florida Boxing Hall of Fame induction weekend is a 3-day event, but it takes every day in the surrounding year, before and after, to make it happen. It is a lot of work, and a lot of outstanding people contribute their time. But we are very fortunate to have some very fine folks in leadership roles. Many of them are here this afternoon. In fact, most of them are here for the Hall of Fame Board of Directors. First of all, I'd like to recognize our president, Mr. Butch Flansburgh. Vice President, Steve Canton. Our CFO, and as I like to say, the glue that holds the body together, Kathy Flansburgh. In charge of fundraising and sales, a 2011 inductee into the Florida Boxing Hall of Fame, John Dodano. Hey, John, come back. In charge of corporate governance and guidance, Dr. Mel Horado. Our medical advisor, a member of the class of the original 2009 Florida Boxing Hall of Fame inductees, the world-renowned Dr. Alan Fields. And in charge of media and public relations, some guy named Bob Alexander. I don't know. Yeah. And we also want to thank the Florida Boxing Hall of Fame Board of Directors, a 2010 inductee into the Hall. He has served several years as our boxing historian. He is stepping down after many years of service, and from the Florida Boxing Hall of Fame, we want to thank him for all of his input and his service and his participation the great historian Enrique Encinosa. Before we announce this year's class, looking out in the crowd here today, I have to say I think this is probably the biggest turnout for this announcement of former inductees that we have ever had. And I think I have everybody on here. I tried to catch all of you as you came in. If I missed anyone, it was purely an accident. So, and you can yell at me and I'll say your name. But we'll just go ahead and start. And this is in no particular order. From the class of 2016, former middleweight champion Freeman Barr of the SJC gym. From the class of 2016, longtime trainer Dave Marks. Dave's in the back, I believe. From the class of 2014, historian and now serving as president of IBRO, Don Cogswell, historian. From the class of 2016, longtime boxing TV producer, Ira Glass. From the class of 2016, longtime boxing judge, Mike Ross. From the class of 2012, former welterweight world title challenger, Scott Clark. Also from the class of 2014, former featherweight champion of the world, Frisco Ariola. We have a 2011 inductee, longtime lightweight challenger, also our very own Paul Newman lookalike. Now he says he looks like Brad Pitt more than Paul Newman. I'm not sure about that. He is the author of a new book. It is here available at the front desk if you'd like to get it. It is an incredible read. It is hysterical and lots of fun to read. Dwayne Simpson is here. And last but not least, as far as our inductees here, we have a member of the original class of 2009, former heavyweight champion of the world, the one and only Pinklin Thomas. We have just a couple of other guests that we want to recognize. One is the gentleman that takes care of making so many of us inductees look great through his amazing artwork. He's been doing the covers for all of our magazines, our programs, I'm sorry. Yes. Our programs, he's been doing that a great job, and he was also a winner of a Lifetime Achievement Award. I believe it was the class of 2014, if I'm not mistaken. 2015? 15, okay, I was close. Arcadio Castro. One of the contenders fought for Jimmy Williams. Daryl Fromm is here. Daytona Beach. Also, we have a young man who's here today. He and his wife have been putting on some great kickboxing and MMA shows around Southwest Florida, and they're going to be doing one next Saturday night at the Harborside Event Center downtown. Jeff Santel and his lovely wife. Thanks for being here, guys. Also, I want to recognize a couple of very special volunteers who were recognized for all their hard work at the induction ceremony last year in June. A young lady that works at the inquiry desk for IBRO, which is the International Boxing Research Organization. Huge boxing fan. She goes to the this Hall of Fame. She goes to the International Hall of Fame. She is just a boxing lady. Carol Meyer is here with us today. And last but not least, I want to say congratulations to another award winner from last year for her volunteering. And I also want to once again wish her a happy birthday yesterday, my wife, Pam Alexander. And of course, the young lady that allows Steve to do everything he does, and she does a lot of work too, Beth Canton. I want to say a special round of applause for her. She takes care of the food here, doesn't she, Steve, for this event? And does a great job for the refreshments. Thank you, Beth. All right, it is time now for the moments that everybody's here for. And that is the announcement of the Florida Boxing Hall of Fame class of 2017. And we're going to begin with the fighter category. Our first inductee was an Olympic boxer, represented Jamaica in 1984 at the Olympics in LA. Turned pro, ran off 24 consecutive KO wins before losing his first fight to Evander Holyfield. He would go on to fight champions like Mike Tyson, Michael Moore, George Foreman, and Oleg Maskayev. Spent several years in Safety Harbor, Florida. Unfortunately, we lost him last November. The Florida Boxing Hall of Fame welcomes to the class of 2017 heavyweight contender, the late Alex the Destroyer Stewart. Our next inductee started his boxing career by fighting in tough man contests in his native Ohio. He turned pro in 1981, later settled in Sarasota. His list of opponents literally is a who's who in the heavyweight division from the 80s and 90s. Mike Tyson, Evander Holyfield, George Foreman, Mike Weaver, Carl the Truth Williams. He also holds a signature win over former top-ranked contender Donovan Razor Ruddock. Florida boxing fans are also very familiar with his names of his two sons, Adam and Aaron. They've been thrilling fans as top pros for the last several years here in the state of Florida. The Florida Boxing Hall of Fame welcomes to the class of 2017 former heavyweight contender Omni Dave Jaco. Our next inductee became a Florida Golden Gloves champion, later a two-time world kickboxing champion. He would turn pro and win the WBC Continental America's middleweight title. During his career, he worked in the gym with some of the best trainers and fighters in the world, honing his craft. In 1999, he opened his own gym in Southwest Florida, Elite Boxing. He continues to train fighters and give his time to young people as they come up through the ranks. The Florida Boxing Hall of Fame welcomes to the class of 2017 former boxer, kickboxer, and trainer Dave Luder. Dangerous Dave Luder. Congratulations, Dave. See you in June. Our next inductee comes from a fighting family. As an amateur, she won the New York Golden Gloves Championship as well as the National Lightweight Championship. She turned pro in 1997 and would go on to win the WIBA World Championship as a super bantamweight and also a super featherweight. She's a longtime resident of South Florida, and she is half of the only brother and sister combination to win world professional titles. Her brother Lou was a world light heavyweight champion. The Florida Boxing Hall of Fame welcomes to the class of 2017 two-time world champion Melissa Honey Girl Del Valle. Our next inductee had a stellar amateur career, turning pro in 1988. He won the light heavyweight championship of the world and would later go on to become the first southpaw to win the heavyweight championship of the world. He is one of only 4 men to win the heavyweight championship 3 times, and only one of 4 men to win the light heavyweight and heavyweight championship in his career. He spent many years living in the state of Florida and training. The Florida Boxing Hall of Fame welcomes to the class of 2017 former light heavyweight and former heavyweight champion of the world, Michael Moorer. Our next inductee began his boxing career right here at the SJC boxing gym at the old age of 14. He scored 84 wins in his amateur career. He was a 3-time Florida State champion. And in 1996, serving his country as a proud member of the United States Army, he fought in the U.S. Army Olympics and won the gold medal as a light heavyweight. After nearly 20 years in the Army, he returned home here to Fort Myers where he currently serves as Vice President of SJC Boxing and is in charge of the amateur boxing program. And it's in very good hands. The Florida Boxing Hall of Fame welcomes to the class of 2017 World Amateur Champion Oscar Montilla.
Can you get in there? Yay!
Congratulations, Oscar. We'll see you in June. Our next inductee represented Canada in the 1976 Olympics and then turned pro. He would become heavyweight champion of the world. He lost the title in his first defense to Mike Tyson. He was one of only 2 boxers to fight both Muhammad Ali and Mike Tyson. Fought a total of 9 world champions, including our very own Pinklin Thomas. Spent more than 20 years in the state of Florida before his untimely death in 2006. The Florida Boxing Hall of Fame welcomes to the class of 2017 former heavyweight champion of the world, the late Trevor Berbick. Our next inductee is viewed by many as one of the pound-for-pound best fighters of his generation. This St. Pete native had a stellar amateur career. He turned pro in 1990. He honed his skills fighting in Europe for several years before winning his first world title, the WBO junior middleweight title. He would later go on to capture the undisputed middleweight championship. Perhaps best remembered for totally dismantling the great Felix Trinidad with a pure boxing performance that was matched by few. The Florida Boxing Hall of Fame welcomes to the class of 2017 former multi-world champion Ronald Winky Wright. We now move to our trainers category. Our next inductee is being inducted for his career as a trainer, but he actually started out with a highly successful boxing career. More than 200 wins as an amateur. As a professional, he won the WBO light middleweight title and the WBA middleweight title. After retiring as a boxer, he has been a fixture here in the South Florida area, training multi-world champions such as Bernard Hopkins, Shane Mosley, Nate Campbell, and Sergey Kovalev. The Florida Boxing Hall of Fame welcomes to the class of 2017 former world champion and trainer John David Jackson. Our next inductee was also an outstanding boxer, but an even greater trainer. He won the Florida and East Coast AAU titles before joining the U.S. Army, where he would give 30 years of distinguished service to his country. He served as an assistant coach for the 1984 U.S. Olympic team and became the first African-American head coach of a U.S. Olympic team, leading the team to Seoul, Korea in 1988. He's trained 26 pro world champions, 34 Olympians, a total of 57 boxers who would eventually win world titles. He once went 22 consecutive world championship bouts without a loss by his fighters. The Florida Boxing Hall of Fame welcomes to the class of 2017 trainer Ken Adams. We now move on to the media category. Our next inductee was raised in the boxing business, where he's worn many hats, but it was a member of the boxing media where he stands out. A graduate of the University of Miami, he served as a commentator and advisor to USA's Tuesday Night Fights. He would also host several radio programs devoted to boxing. He served as a sports handicapper, helped to establish Casino Magic in Mississippi as a sports venue. He's been an outstanding advocate for boxing reform. He's penned 3 electronic books. once named the Dignity Award winner for Best Boxing Writer by the Retired Boxers Foundation. The Florida Boxing Hall of Fame welcomes to the class of 2017 writer and commentator Charles J. Our next inductees, notice I said inductees, are a set of brothers who were once nicknamed the Boxing Twins by none other than Florida Boxing Hall of Famer Roberto Duran. They assisted their father Joseph in establishing the USA Boxing News in the early 80s. It grew over the years from a free pamphlet handed out at fights in Connecticut to a major publication here in Florida and several other states. Eventually, the USA Boxing News would be published in 48 states, 10 countries, and 4 continents with a staff of over 30 writers. The Florida Boxing Hall of Fame welcomes to the class of 2017 boxing writers and publishers John and Alex Rinaldi. All right, before we go any further, we have a couple of gentlemen that came in during the ceremony, and we absolutely need to recognize them, and we're grateful they both made it. First of all, a world-class boxing referee and currently world-class boxing judge, a member of the original boxing class of 2009. Is he there? Oh, there he is. Brian Gary, ladies and gentlemen. Another member of the class of 2009, and as Jorge Alonso graciously said, if you don't know anything about this guy, then you're not in Florida boxing. One of the best longtime trainers the sport has ever seen, a member of the class of 2009, the original class, longtime trainer, the one and only Jimmy Williams.
He's older than me.
And he's older than Dwayne. That's hard to do these days. Thank you guys. We're so glad that you made it.
In better shape, Dwayne.
All right, we're moving on to our participant category. Our next inductee made his mark in the fight business as a 5-time world kickboxing champion and a top pioneer in the kickboxing promoting industry in the state of Florida. After he retired from fighting, he trained, managed, and promoted over 200 state Golden Gloves, national, and world boxing and amateur kickboxing champions, both amateur and pro. He ran a boxing and kickboxing gym for over 25 years, where scores of great trainers and champions would train. Also, we will soon see his life portrayed on the big screen. A movie highlighting his career is currently in production. The Florida Boxing Hall of Fame welcomes to the class of 2017 World Kickboxing Champ and boxing trainer Steve Shepard.
He's one of my favorite people.
Okay.
Congratulations, Steve. Thanks for being here. Our next inductee was the busiest promoter, not only in Florida, but in the country in the 1950s and 60s. He put on shows in Dade County at 28 different locations, including bowling alleys, armories, and nightclubs. For 3 consecutive years, he put on shows without missing a single night. Later in his career, he took over the city of Miami's amateur boxing program, which flourished until he retired in 1978. The Florida Boxing Hall of Fame welcomes to the class of 2017 boxing promoter, the late Dick Lee. Our next inductee spent 37 years at ringside and developed into one of the most respected judges in the business. He began his career on a show promoted on Miami Beach by Florida Boxing Hall of Famer Chris Dundee. He then went on to judge bouts all over the world for all of the major and some of the minor organizations, included a total of 65 world title bouts. Some of the boxers he judged for include Florida Boxing Hall of Famers Roberto Duran, Mike Quarry, Howard Davis Jr., and Hector Macho Camacho, among many others. The Florida Boxing Hall of Fame welcomes to the class of 2017 boxing judge Al Wilensky. Our next inductee began his career as an inspector with the Florida State Boxing Commission, but made a switch to being a timekeeper in 2003. He spent the next 11 years as one of the best in the business. He served as timekeeper for some of the biggest fights in the 2000s. He was also beloved for his ringside antics, which included magic tricks and having full dishes of candy at his ringside position, hence his nickname, the Candy Man. He retired from serving the Florida State Boxing Commission in 2012. The Florida Boxing Hall of Fame welcomes to the class of 2017 timekeeper Bill the Candy Man Anello. Our final inductee began his career as a third man in the ring, or referee, for nearly 50 decades now. In his career, this Miramar native has officiated more than 600 bouts, including 29 world title bouts, some of them broadcast on HBO and Showtime. Among those he's been in the ring with are Floyd Mayweather Jr., James Toney, Sam Peter, Chad Dawson, Tomas Adamek, Felix Trinidad, and many, many more. He's been praised for his work by all the major boxing organizations and shows no signs of slowing down, continuing his craft here in Florida and around the world. The Florida Boxing Hall of Fame welcomes to the class of 2017 referee Jorge Alonso.
You said 50 decades. Why? 5 decades.
Over here.
I said 5 decades.
You said 50.
Oh, 50 decades. 50 years then, right?
You look great.
That's why I'm an announcer. I don't have to do much math. Announcer's an idiot, we know. We have something we do every year during the induction ceremony weekend where we honor individuals who have had amazing careers and made significant contributions to the sport of boxing. They are awarded the Florida Boxing Hall of Fame Lifetime Achievement Awards. We have 2 individuals who will be receiving that award this year, and that'll be given out at our gala dinner on Saturday night. Our first award recipient began her career as a boxing official in the amateurs, working with USA Boxing, culminated her time in the amateurs working at the 1996 Olympics in Atlanta. In 1987, she became a pro judge, and in 92, she became a timekeeper and remains active today. She has been timekeeper for 9 world title bouts, worked on all the major TV networks, and for all the major boxing organizations. She has also served as timekeeper for all of our events during the Florida Boxing Hall of Fame induction weekend events. She's the wife of one of our inductees, and we're very happy to award the 2017 Florida Boxing Hall of Fame Lifetime Achievement Award to timekeeper Phyllis Gary. I want to congratulate Brian on his latest venture, serving in the United States Coast Guard Auxiliary. He does a great job with them, helping to protect our country. And by the way, I do apologize. One of our major sponsors for the Florida Boxing Hall of Fame for several years is here. He is also an outstanding amateur official, training now to be a pro official, Chris Young. Chris, thank you for being here. All right, our final award is going to be given to a gentleman who fought as both an amateur and pro, located in Miami in the early 90s. He worked as an inspector for the Florida State Boxing Commission. Later, he began working with the World Boxing Council and has been there pretty much ever since. He's held numerous positions, including Secretary of the WBC Latin American titles, Chairman of the Ratings and Appeals Committee, among others. He's also been ringside supervisor for over 100 world title bouts. The Florida Boxing Hall of Fame welcomes to the 2017 Lifetime Achievement Award. It goes to boxing supervisor Bismarck Morales. I know Bismarck is here. Okay, before we wrap things up with the ceremony, we just want to remind everybody to please put on your calendar June 23rd, 24th, and 25th. That will be the 2017 weekend induction ceremony in Tampa. It'll be held at the West Shore Grand Hotel at the corner of West Shore and Kennedy in Tampa. Beautiful facility, and we look forward to having everybody there. If you need ticket information for the events, room information, it's all going to be on our website, which is www.floridaboxinghalloffame.com. We're looking forward to having that, and what we want to do right now.
Bobby?
Yes.
I want to let you know that I've talked to all the people that haven't been here tonight, who didn't show up today, and they assured me they will be there in June.
Okay, Butch relaying to me that he's talked to everyone who was in the class of 2017. Some of them could not be here today, but every one of them has assured us that they will be there for the entire weekend in June. So if you want to get pictures and autograph, you'll live points. What we're going to do now, before we close everything out, we are going to ask the 2017 inductees, we're going to ask them to line up here with Butch. We're going to get a group photo of them. Then after that, we're going to get all of the living inductees that are here and bring them all up for a second group photo. So let's get the inductees from 2017. If you could please step in here if you're here. Just hold your positions if you would. Another minute.
Did you get it?
All the former inductees that are here, please come on up.
I'm working on it.
This is the biggest picture we've had yet.
It is.
I can't hold my stomach in down here.
I got them all. Okay. I got them.
You need to move to the middle. We'll wait another minute.
I got it.
We want to make sure everybody gets the picture they want.
How do I look with one leg?
Better than with one eye. After 50
Don't be
decades.
talking about my face. You're done high. Everybody got to cut your legs off. Oh.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, once again, we want to thank you for being here. If you want pictures or autographs of individuals, they're here and they're more than well happy to oblige. And we will see you in June for the induction ceremony in Tampa.